Hello and welcome. We are in Unit 3 on equation solving. The focus we've been working on so far is 3.6 word puzzles. This section is on perimeter problems with word puzzles. Please make sure that you add in your name and date to this so that we can identify whose note sheet this is in case it gets lost. And the pizzazz pages that will go along with this are pizzazz page 45 and 46. The first thing we're going to start with is vocabulary, and we're going to talk about what perimeter means. So going back to some of the work that we've done in the past, perimeter, and not the past in this class, but perimeter should have a sense about perimeter and area. So perimeter is the sum of the outside of the figure. So we're going to add in here the sum. Of the outside of the figure. And the rectangle is a four-sided figure with four right angles. The opposite sides, which is the piece that's really important for us right now when we talk about perimeter, is that the opposite sides have the same measurement. And there's this wonderful, which I would highlight if you have a highlighter at home, I would highlight that the perimeter of a rectangle, notice there's this little rectangle down here indicating that. The perimeter of a rectangle is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. It's the same thing as if we have the length plus the width plus the length again plus the width. And that's indicating the four sides of a rectangle we have, which can simplify down to 2L plus 2W. A triangle is a three-sided figure with angles that add up to 180 degrees. And we use this idea down here for the perimeter of a triangle. And again, there's a little triangle down there to indicate for a three-sided figure, we add the three sides, A plus B plus C. Now we start to use A plus B plus C because it's introduced again when we talk about Pythagorean's theorem and the sides when we have right triangles. So even though we're not only working with right triangles here, we are identifying the sides as A, B, and C. So we're using the same concept that we have when we have word puzzles. We're just going to use some extra pieces in there when we talk about perimeter word puzzle problems. The first is to label or identify your unknowns. So here we're going to use some variables. And the second step would be to write my equation, or equations if we're given multiple pieces. So we could make this equations. For a perimeter problem, this might be a good opportunity to help us draw. So draw a picture for our perimeter problems. The third step is to solve an equation. So with what we've been doing, we've been using multiple equations. So let's make sure that we use substitution. And we've been substituting phrases and expressions rather than just simple values. The fourth step is to check your solution. We want to ask ourselves, is this reasonable? If we're talking about someone's age, it wouldn't be reasonable to have a negative number. Similarly, if we're talking about a length, we can't measure it in negatives. So it wouldn't make sense if we're talking about the length of a piece of rope or the length of a side on a rectangle to be a negative. Let me finish writing reasonable. And I'm going to put a question mark because that's what we want to ask ourselves. Number 5, it says to answer the original question in a complete sentence. So ask yourself, did you answer the question? If we're talking about two people's ages, did I answer both of finding both ages? Or perhaps when I'm taking a look at two sides of a triangle, am I only asked to find the largest side? Perhaps I want to indicate maybe the third side of the triangle was given to me. So I have two things that I don't know. I need to make sure I recognize which one is the largest and respond to that question. The last thing on the key concepts, please, 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 please do not measure the lengths and widths of figures. They are not drawn to scale. So if you are given a figure, it is not for you to take a ruler or any other type of measurement. They're not drawn to scale. So please don't try to measure the length or width. Okay. Let's now have a look at our first example. It says the length of a rectangle is 2 centimeters less than 7 times its width. The perimeter is 60 centimeters. Find the width and the length. Now, we often will talk about length as being the longest side. So wherever you're talking about the longest side in this figure, this right here is the longest side. So, if it says the length of a rectangle and the width of a rectangle, those are my two variables that and W for the width. I'm going to draw a little box to indicate the rectangle. Let's make it more look box-shaped. Okay, so the length of the rectangle is, now is means equals. Length we're representing with L. 2 centimeters less than is going to be a -2 or a -2. 7 times the width we can write as 7W. So my first equation I'm going to write down is going to look like L is equal to, I can make this look like -2 plus 7W. Or I can rearrange these and swap these around, which some people prefer, and in fact I prefer, to say 7W minus 2. The perimeter, it says now, the perimeter is 60 centimeters. And I know perimeter from above to equal this idea of 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Now, if I know the perimeter to be 60, where I put this P, I really can be writing in 60. So I'm going to do that next. So 60 is equal to 2 times L plus 2 times W. All right. On this picture, if it helps us, I can indicate what I'm talking about by my length and my width. So I know this to be my width and this guy to be my length, which we recognize is the same thing as 7W minusing 2. So if I'm looking for the perimeter, I can go ahead and look to substitute. Where I see that length, I can go ahead and place 7W minus 2. So this piece can go in right there. So let's go ahead and do that. If I plug in, I'm going to have this say, use a different color to indicate that. So 60 is equal to 2 times length, but length we're going to plug in as 7w minus 2. And we're going to simplify and get 60 is equal to 14w, because I'm distributing, minus 4 plus 2w. This is going to give me then 60 is equal to 16w minus 4. Add 4 to both sides. I'm going to move it over here. So 64 is equal to 16w. Then I want to divide both sides by 16. And I find that w is equal to 4, a positive 4. That's good news. And 4, what we're talking about here, we're measuring this in centimeters because it was 60 centimeters. So the width is going to be 4 centimeters. Now I can plug this value of 4 in where I see the w and find my length. So that would look like this. L is equal to 7 times 4 minus 2. So L is equal to 28 minus 2, which gives me the length is equal to 26. Now again, I'm working with centimeters, so the width is in fact 4 centimeters and the length is 26 centimeters. So as it appears, it looks like I wrote too big, so I'm going to grab another sheet of paper and finish off with my check on the other sheet of paper. So instead of rewriting this, here's all the information back. Let's go ahead and check our answer. Let's do this check in a different color, so why not brown, to make it pretty clear that we are checking our work. And I'm checking back into the original equation I was working with, so that's where I have the perimeter is equal to 60. So I'm going to go to the perimeter, and I'm going to write 60 is equal to twice the length plus twice the width. And then where I see the width, I'm going to place the 26. And where I see the width, I'm going to place the 4. This is 60 is equal to 52 plus 8, which in fact does add to 60. So the question that I was originally asked was to find the length and the width, so I can write out that the length is 26 centimeters. Make sure that you add in the label. And the width is 4 centimeters. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our second problem on the back. Please flip this over. Add in the section title of 3.6. Perimeter word problems. I'll just do word for short since it looks like I have a minimal amount of space. And we have some extra vocab down here. It looks like we have congruent, which is meaning of equal measure. So you might see the word congruent in a couple of our word problems. And just some information for you, an isosceles triangle is a triangle in which two sides have equal length. Oops, excuse me there. The pen kind of went all over. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the next example. I have my pen under control. So if I'm taking a look at this example, it says the perimeter of a triangle is 76 centimeters. Side A of the triangle is twice as long as side B. Side C is 1 centimeter longer than side A. Now if I take a look at this, if side A is twice as long as side B, and C is 1 centimeter longer than A, my longest side needs to be side C. That's because A is twice as long, and C is twice as long in addition to an extra centimeter. So let's go ahead. I have 3 unknowns, so I have 3 sides of this triangle. So I have A, B, and C. Alright, so my unknowns are the first side, second side, and third side. So I'm going to take a look, and the perimeter of the triangle is, meaning equals, 76. So I can write P is equal to 76. And perimeter of a triangle, I know that P is also equal to A plus B plus C, right? So in essence, I can say that 76 is equal to A plus B plus C. Okay. Now, if I do this, I have a couple of pieces that I can organize. I'm going to move this so I have a little bit extra space since we're running out of space. I'm writing too large. If I take a look at this problem, so the perimeter is 76 centimeters, and perimeter of a triangle is all 3 sides added together. If side A is twice as long, so A is twice as long, is meaning equal, so I'm going to write A equals twice as long. Twice means 2 times. As long as side B, I'm going to write 2B. And side C, now I'm onto a new sentence, which means I'm onto a new equation. Side C is, that's where my equal sign is going to be. So C is, maybe I'll just write this down here to indicate. C is 1 centimeter longer, which is going to be 1 plus side A. I'm going to go ahead and input some of this information. We've had a couple of problems that have 3 pieces to them. So what I'm going to start with first is where I see A, I'm going to put in a 2B. So I have this idea where C is equal to 1A, which is the same thing as 1 plus 2B. And A is equal to 2B. So where I see this A right in there, I can also place in a 2B. So I'm going to use a different color to indicate what I'm doing. So this A right here is 2B plus B, because of that guy, plus C, which is the same thing as 1 plus 2B. And that is all equal to 76, because I was told the perimeter is equal to 76. So I can now solve this equation. And let's go ahead and do so. I'm going to combine some like terms, so I have 2B plus 1B plus 2B, giving me a total of 5B plus 1 is equal to 76. Subtract 1 on both sides, and I get 5B is equal to 75. That tells me that if I divide both sides by 5, I get B is equal to 15, I believe. Let me double check that in my calculator. And 15 looks to be right, so I'm going to write 15 in where I see B on that picture, just to kind of help organize myself. So if I know B, that means I can find what A is, and I can also find out what C is. So if I go back into what I know A to be, A is equal to 2B, which is equal to 2 times the idea that B is equal to 15. So then I really know that A is equal to 30. And C is equal to 1 plus A. Therefore, since C is equal to 1 plus A, I can say that C is equal to 1 plus 30. And C is equal to then 31 centimeters. Now to check this, I'm going to add all three of these up and make sure that they add up to 76. So I'll do that over here. I want to make sure that 76 is equal to A, which I have as 30, plus B, which I have as 15, plus C, which I have as 31. This in fact does check out to give me 76. Whoops. Is equal to 76. So it does check. My answer was to find the length of each side. So I can write in that the lengths are 30 centimeters, 15 centimeters, and 31 centimeters long. The three lengths are 30 centimeters, 31 centimeters, and 15 centimeters. Now, as this is a fairly long video, we will complete the next problem in class. So this is not necessarily a try on your own. You are more than welcome to try and set up this problem here, but you do not have to for tonight's homework. I appreciate your attention. Please come to class with any questions and the completed note sheet. See you in class.